Good morning folks, and welcome back to the track, and Happy New Year to you all. This is the first video that I have done in this new year, January 2021, and it's been a pretty tough start to the new year here in the UK. We are all back in, pretty well the whole country anyway, back into a full lockdown, sadly. So we're only allowed to leave the house for essential shopping purposes only and for essential work. So it really is quite a tough time, and also of course the UK officially left Europe as a trading partner as of about 3 days ago. And initially I thought, oh well, you know, probably doesn't matter, but then I thought, well actually, two of the cars, the slot cars that I bought very recently, came direct from Europe. One came from Spain, the other one came from Germany. And not only that, some of the items I bought for my motorbike also came direct from Europe, from Germany. So I'm just beginning to wonder now how that's going to be affected, because these things are probably going to go up in price, maybe they're going to take longer to get hold of. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. These are very, very strange times. And talking about deliveries, let's get on to something a bit more positive though, because I had a call from my friend Alan just before Christmas saying, keep your eyes open for a parcel that I've just sent you for your track. So this is it. It's quite a small, thin, light parcel, as you can see here. So let's get it open and we will see what is inside it. Well, it looks like some basically pieces of plastic. There we go. Pieces of plastic. However, when we turn them over, how awesome is that? So what Alan has done is, as you are aware, you will no doubt see that all of my corners on the track have been labelled with these pieces of paper, which I've been using for the last couple of months. So that is so good of him. What Alan's done is created, using his 3D printer, some official track labels. Look at this. How good is that? So let's get these on the track. I think this is going to make the track so much better. So how much better does this look? Here is the labels which Alan has kindly 3D printed for me, now put on to the track, and it really does make a massive difference to how the track looks. It's just fantastic. Look at this. And he has beautifully printed all of the labels, and I didn't tell him what these labels were and how they were supposed to be printed. He literally just took them from watching my videos. I had no idea that he was going to do this. Absolutely awesome. Well, a big thanks to Alan for making these track labels for me. They really do make a significant difference to the image of the track. They'll make it a lot easier for viewers looking at parts of the track, no doubt, when I'm referring to different corners. And it does bring in the question of whether I should get more scenery. I have had a few people send me little emails and comments saying, am I going to put any scenery on the track? And I don't know really. Maybe you could give me some tips. The only thing is with this track, because it's a test track and I built it to test the speed of the cars that I've got and to race on eventually, I thought scenery is not very good because it distracts you from what's going on the track, and sometimes the cars can disappear behind the scenery and you can't keep your eye on what they're doing. But maybe a little bit of scenery would be good. It would make it look a bit better. Let me know what you think. But in the meantime, let's get on to today's main part of the video, which is my new Lamborghini Huracan Performante. if you look at my Christmas video that I did, the special edition video, you will see that I had this car specially made for me by Gary Skip, who is one of the UK's experts on slot cars and slot car racing. And I had it done because I wanted a Lamborghini Huracan Performante edition, and you basically can't buy one anywhere. It is such a beautiful piece of work that it's almost like I shouldn't really drive it. So let's have a first look around the car. Then, as usual, we'll have a look under the bonnet and see what it's like on the inside, and then we're going to get it on the track. This car started off as a Lamborghini Huracan standard model, completely stripped because I bought it as a spares or repair with silver wheels. It wasn't really up to much when I bought it, I've got to be honest. It didn't look that good to me. However, let's look at it now. So what we have gained here is these front spoilers, lower spoilers here are now finished in black, as opposed to the normal green which they were when the car arrived. The green here is of course the Lamborghini Huracan green, which I absolutely love. The wheels, as we said earlier, were originally supplied in silver. I wanted them in black, so Gary's repainted them to black. But I don't know whether you can see there, inside the wheels you've got the red brake calipers, which are clearly showing. Zoom in on those, there we go. So we can see the disc brakes and the red brake calipers through the wheels. Along here, as we go down the side of the car, you've got the Lamborghini Performante stripe down the side. In addition to that, these sills down the side in black instead of green, so they make the car look far more aggressive and far more sporty in my view. Coming round to the wheels at the back, of course, again, same thing, don't know whether you can see that. We've got the disc brakes. These wheels are plastic, front and back. They are standard wheels, not alloy like the ones you get in, say, a NSR car. However, they still look absolutely awesome. As we come round to the back of the car here, you can see that we've got the Performante spoiler on the back, which of course with the original car when it was supplied there was no spoiler at all. Gary's actually made it so the spoiler can actually be removed. We can literally unclip it from the back in the event of the car coming off the track, but we will leave that on. We've obviously got the quad tailpipes on the back there, as you can see, finished in chrome. And over the back here, and look a little bit further, we can see the engine in the engine bay, beautifully done. A lot of detail there. And in fact, staying on the inside of the car, if we come round to the side here, you can obviously see you've got the driver, but not only that, you've also got the console. It's all been very, very beautifully done. It's quite hard for me to give you a accurate picture of that, but you can actually see the proper Lamborghini console, center console as well inside the cabin. Now the first thing to point out, this is a pretty heavy car due to the weight of the Carrera body shell, and as you can see here, it's weighing in at 94 grams. It definitely feels considerably heavier than the NSR Mercedes, for example. In fact, heavier than pretty well every car I've got. So it's a pretty heavy car, due to, as we say, the Carrera body. If we look at the underside of the car, we've got the red guide on this one. Might have to paint that black, don't know, because the arc lap timer that I use doesn't always pick up the cars if they are certain colours of guide rail, so we'll have to find out. We'll know that in due course. We can see the NSR motor there, which we'll have a look at in more detail in a second, but that's a high performance motor, and there are basically 4 screws holding the body shell to the chassis. So we're going to get those 4 screws off and let's have a look and see what's inside. Let's get this body shell off. I've removed the 4 screws, and here is what we have underneath. And let's just take a a closer look at how this car is set up. So as you can see here, we've got treaded tyres front and back. We've got the wires going straight from the guides, no messing around, just going straight back to the NSR Pro motor. And as we can see here, the axle here, steel axle floating on what appears to be brass bearings, so proper metal bearings, not plastic. And if we go to the back of the car, let's just get a little bit of a closer look at the back of the car. So here is the NSR motor, which is the Shark 20 Pro Racing motor. Really good motor, straight from Italy, so it's keeping in with the Italian theme of the car. Back here, as you can see, it's connected to some nylon pinion wheels, which is going to be a lot lighter, no doubt. And this thing does need to have weight reduced wherever possible, being the heaviest car in the collection. And as you can see here, we've got a couple of disconnected cables, which, as Gary mentioned earlier, they go to the rear lights, which we've disconnected. I'm not a big fan of having lights on cars, because I think they basically affect the performance, the general power coming through. So they've been disconnected. We've left them in there, but they've been disconnected. There you go. No magnets, of course. The magnets, as I said to Gary, I didn't want any magnets. He knows that I'm not a big fan of having magnets in cars. So they're already removed. So it will be interesting to see how this car performs without any magnets straight from the offset. That is the inside of the car. Very simple setup, very clean setup, very much like you'd have on a NSR or a Sideways. It's time to fire up the motor, this NSR Shark motor, for the first time, and see what she sounds like in this Lambo Performante. Whoa, that sounds pretty good. Still not full length yet. Hopefully I'm not going to shred the tyres like I did on the NSR Mercedes. I've got to keep it a little bit under control. I don't want to shred the tyres again. This car has not actually been driven on a track before, ever. And that's because although Gary has a whole crate full of slot car track, in fact enough to build the full Le Mans 24-hour track that they use in a sports hall, he doesn't actually have that track set up anywhere, or have any track set up anywhere where he can actually drive the car on. So this is the first time, so this will be the first time for Gary himself to see how this car actually drives on a Scalextric track. I'm going to take it steady because I don't want to crash it, so let's just see how she drives. Nice and steady so far, and the first thing to point out is just how smooth that Shark motor is. Well, this motor, I can tell you straight away, is so smooth. It sounds easily as smooth and as quiet as the NSR Mercedes AMG GT. Easily as quiet, in fact, and I guess it's a better motor, bit of a stick there. Well, one thing I can say, if you want to do some drifting with the current tyres, this is the car to do it with. It drifts absolutely beautifully. So I think from the point of view of setting any lap speed records, this is not going to set any records simply because of the tyres at this point in time. And it really is starting to grip now. It's taken a little while. I've been driving it for a few minutes now, and all of a sudden this thing is starting to really move. It just goes to show you've got to be patient with these things. Can you hear that motor? It does tend to stick a bit in striker corners, a lot of them do, but this one seems to, as it goes into striker, seems to skid a lot more than the others. Again, same problem, back to the tyres, I think. Oh, we have a problem. Unfortunately, due to my over-enthusiastic driving, I had managed to tear the tyre from the wheel. Well folks, I did manage to get the tyre put back on properly, and the car is once again running perfectly as it was before. Absolutely love the car. Beautiful to look at. Would like to do some performance upgrades, particularly with the tyres. I think that'll make a massive difference. I will be doing a speed test, of course, on this car as soon as I get a chance to do that, to see how fast it goes around my track and how it stacks up in the leaderboard of the cars we have so far. One other thing that came to my mind while I was over enthusiastically at one point driving this Lambo around the track, and that is, we are currently right now in a very difficult situation of lockdown, as I mentioned at the start of the video. And this pandemic has caused us all, very sadly, to have to use devices, you know, screens to be more specific, more than we ever have before. We use screens on our phones, we use screens on our Xbox, on our PlayStations, whatever they are. In fact, we're even using screens now to talk to people, don't we, when we use things like video conferencing. And the thing that occurred to me is that with a hobby like this, the beauty of it is you're not using any screens at all. And even though outside right now it's absolutely freezing cold, it's winter, rather than sit on a screen with an Xbox, to be able to do this without a screen, to have fun like this, using real physical items with their own genuine physics as they go around the track, using genuine skill to actually drive them, is a real relief from our use of constant computers all the time. So it's been absolutely fantastic fun today to get this thing on the track and take it for a blast round. Hopefully, once these lockdowns have eased, we can finally, hopefully in the future, not too distant future, get onto some club tracks, get some of these cars on the club tracks, go and see some tracks, go and see some exhibitions, swap meets, things like that. We just need these lockdowns to ease off. But in the meantime, there is lots more to come, don't worry. Hope you're safe, hope everything's good, and here's to a great new year, and we'll catch you in the next one.